All right, ladies and gents, we're working on activity 115 today. Brand new activity means we've got a brand new purpose statement. So let's get that purpose statement written out. And I'll read this aloud to you as well in case you're having trouble reading my handwriting. I know some of you still aren't really familiar with how to read cursive yet.
Attention. I can't even see the word anymore.
I can't see the word anymore, not no more.
No more.
All right, so our purpose here, folks, purpose here today, you need to make sure that you're writing it down, and I'm going to read it aloud to you as well in case you're having trouble reading it. You know that you are working towards creating a definition essay in which you define the concept of heroism. In order to define that concept, you know you have to use the three definition strategies of function, example, and negation. So this activity is titled Language and Writer's Craft. That means you're working with some grammar. Okay, now you're not working on how to write a sentence. You're not working on how to capitalize, any of that. You're working to write formally with coherence. That is what our function and our purpose of this particular activity is. So again, you're writing formally, you're writing with coherence. And the way we write with coherence is by adding transitions and embedding quotes. So one more time for those of you that aren't reading that purpose statement right. It says ELA8 purpose, writing formally with coherence, transitions, and embedded quotes. All right, that's what we're starting with here. Okay, we're going to open up our lesson today with you getting an idea of what that word coherence is. Okay, your in question asks what it is. And your in question also told you, hey, check out this particular page to find out what coherence is. So Philip, can you read that literary terms box for us about coherence?
Coherence is a clear and ordinary presentation of ideas in a paragraph or essay.
All right, so coherence. I want you to go ahead and highlight just the key terms about it. It's clear, it's presentation of ideas. How do we make coherence happen? And this is part of that ELA8 purpose statement. Coherence happens when you use transitions and also when you embed quotes. That's how you make coherence happen. So coherence is going to occur, the idea of presenting your ideas in order, of being clear, happens with transitions and embedding quotes. All right, we're opening up with the subheading, Reviewing and Extending Transitions. So, Elijah D., can you read about reviewing and extending transitions for us?
You have learned that transitions connect ideas. Writers use transitioning words and phrases to create coherence
Got it.
and to help readers move fluidly through the essay. In formal writing, transitions establish relationships between one thought and replay. Then, both with their body paragraphs and two body paragraphs. Wait.
You got it. Can you read that last little portion for us?
Oh, transitions are used for different purposes.
Okay, so you folks have this huge list of transitions, and I want you to write some information about them. So the column of transitions that's all the way to the left, you're going to use these for supporting details. So when you're writing your paragraph and you're trying to decide, okay, what might be some really good transitions to use for a supporting detail, these would be the types of transitions that you would use for that. Okay, now the column dead center, introducing an interpretation and clarifying, you're going to use this center column for transitions when you're giving the information regarding the commentary. So you're explaining your supporting detail. These would be the transitions that you use in the center. Okay, the ones all the way to the right, those just depend on whether they're going to fit with your information or not. Okay, now these transitions that you know, or maybe don't know, I don't need to read them aloud to you. You guys can read them by yourself, but there is something that I am going to ask you to do. So in a moment, you're going to look at all the transitional phrases that are here. And you're going to use your metacognitive markers. So that's the asterisk, the exclamation point, and the question mark. What you are going to need to do is you are going to have to use these 2 times a piece. So you're going to read this list of transitions to yourself. 2 of your phrases are going to have an asterisk, 2 of them will have an exclamation point, and 2 of them will have a question mark. This is where they're going to go. If you've never used 2 of these transitions before, I want you to put a question mark next to them. And I'm sure there's plenty up here that you have never used, but 2 phrases that you've never used before, I want you to write a question mark next to them. 2 phrases that you use all the time, I want you to put an exclamation point next to. You use them all the time. Those hokey ones like first, next, and then, for example, those are things you use all the time. Okay, and the asterisk. These are transitions that you want to use. So you look at them and you think, oh, that's an awesome idea. So I want you to take about a minute, minute and a half, read through this list of transitions, and you're going to find 6 of them. 6 of these phrases that you're going to put the proper metacognitive marker next to. All right, go ahead. Look through this list of transitions using metacognitive markers. Okay, now we're going to look at the next page. You should have gotten yourself a list of 6 transitional phrases that you've never used, you always use, and you'd like to use. Now we're going to move on to step 1, and step 1 is going to have us practice this idea with transitional phrases. So Spencer, can you read step 1 for us, just the first chunk of text?
The following sample paragraph is based on the film Mulan, the folklore story from China about a girl, Mulan, who chose to go to war in place of her ill father. Mark the draft to indicate where the transitions could be added.
Okay, and can you read the directions that follow just below that, please, Nina?
Using the chart above, determine what kind of transactions are appropriate to this inclusion paragraph. And devise divided organization by adding or
Transitional
words and phrases to create
coherence. Got it. All right, first, before we have you folks actually read, and I'm not going to read this paragraph to you, it's not difficult. I want you to go ahead and number all of the sentences in this paragraph. There are 11 sentences total. Find each one of them and label each one. So find all 11 sentences, label each one. This is the first, this is the second, this is the third. Okay, once you've labeled the sentences 1 through 11, and there are 11 sentences in that paragraph, I want you to write the numbers 1 through 11 in that white space area, just like you see on the screen. So we're breaking up the number series here. You're going to write that down in that white space. All right, now I want you to read that paragraph by yourself. I'm going to give you about 2 minutes just to read the paragraph by yourself. Okay, last Friday we talked about a paragraph. An expository paragraph is always trying to prove something. The author is trying to give us proof with commentary and supporting details. So if you look at the very first sentence in that paragraph, the topic sentence, I want you to reread that very first sentence with me. It says, Mulan is courageous because she has the ability to disregard fear for a greater good. What is the author trying to prove to us in this entire paragraph? And the very first sentence is telling us what the author is trying to prove. We just reread it aloud. So what is the author trying to prove to us with this giant paragraph? What's trying to be proven, Faisal?
That she's heroic.
Okay, we're trying to prove that one, Milan is heroic, and how are we going to prove that? Why is Milan heroic? What's the terminology, not that we're saying, but that the author is saying exactly in that first sentence? Yeah, Ludwig? She's courageous. What else?
She has the ability to express fear.
Yeah, she disregards fear. You got it. So that entire paragraph, that author is trying to prove she's heroic because, one, she's courageous, and two, she's disregarding fear whatsoever. So that means all the sentences that follow would have to prove that point again and again. So what you're going to do now, the reason why you've got the numbers 1 through 11 written twice, in this entire paragraph, the author has absolutely no transitions. None. None of them are there. So what you're going to do, and I'm just going to show another screen in just a second, what you're going to do is look back at page 74 where you have that list, series of supporting detail transitions and commentary transitions. I want you, and you can do this with someone, you don't have to do it by yourself. I want you to look and add transitions to 2 sentences. Again, what you want to do is you want to look through these sentences that are at the top of the page in the paragraph, identify which ones that you want to go ahead and add transitions to. So maybe the last one, number 11, you're like, hey, I'm totally going to add a transition here. So next to number 11, in that white space area, that's where you're going to go ahead and write the transitional phrase down. All right, I want you to go ahead and begin. You have 4 minutes to look at these sentences and try and add transitions. You don't have to work by yourself. You can work with someone. Go ahead.